Presentation about ethanol. And so for our introduction, basically ethanol is just alcohol, basically just converted corn to alcohol. It's already actually very prevalent in the United States, with almost 90% of all gasoline already containing some sort of ethanol in it. And it's pretty easy to create. As well, it has an easy source that it comes from, which leads me into the biological source of ethanol, which is, for the most part, in the US, corn, which is pretty easy to cultivate. It is already cultivated a lot in like the Midwest and other places across the United States. While it does take a huge amount of arable land, we already are using that arable land for corn. So it's not really a true problem, especially because there's not really much expansion going on in that area. But for production of ethanol, basically what you're going to do is you're going to take corn, you're going to mill it, there's dry milling and wet milling. Wet milling creates more byproducts, so really you're going to be mostly using dry milling, which will be less expensive and create more ethanol for you. Basically, you're going to take that corn, you're going to grind it up, and then you're going to add water to it to create a mash. Then you're going to go through liquefaction, where you're adding alpha amylase and you're doing hydrolysis on the bonds in all the starches to create more glucose, more available glucose for you to use. And then you're going to take that, you're going to go through this process called saccharification, which is just even more hydrolysis of the alpha 1,4 and alpha 1,6 bonds by glucoamylase to form glucose. And then take that, you're going to go through fermentation through yeast most of the time, and then you're going to get a mixture of water and ethanol, and then you're going to go take that, you're going to distill it to mostly ethanol. There will be some slight water, so you're going to have to go through another process called dehydration to get rid of all the water, so it's not like messing up your tank in your car when you're going through it. And also because obviously you would rather have more fuel in your fuel versus water. And then you're going to take it and then you're going to combine it with gasoline, which will denature it and make it regular fuel for you. For the developmental status and economic impact, it's already really developed. It's already out there. As I said, is really common in the United States already. So the economic impact, the economic impact has already happened. So the only way it could greater impact the economy is you were to increase the amount of ethanol, because right now it's about 10 to 15% of ethanol in most gasoline. But if you were to increase the amount of ethanol, this could have negative effects, because it would take you you would have less miles per gallon, because ethanol is not as good at energy as gasoline is. So it could be more expensive to use ethanol gas. But yeah, the carbon footprint, it's actually much less than if you were just to use gasoline. Yes, you do create carbon dioxide when you ferment things. It's just a natural byproduct of fermentation. But at least alcoholic fermentation. But it's still a net positive in terms of carbon footprint. And even if you were comparing it to like EVs, if the EVs aren't using like really renewable energy to create the EV, you'd still have a net positive gain or a net positive benefit for your carbon footprint. And then for communication, really there's not really much communication with the public, at least that I've seen, but it's already really widespread, so there isn't really a necessity for it at the moment. But it is very common, and people do really know about it, especially in places like the Midwest, where they have even greater amounts of ethanol in their gasoline, even around like half of ethanol in their gasoline. And for the analysis, recommendation, and plan of action, looking at it, I'm saying ethanol is very widespread already, with E10, which is 10% ethanol, being very normal all over the country. And then it's got a very common source corn. There's a lot of corn growing everywhere. You just drive through Texas, you're gonna see corn everywhere. It's very common, and so I'm thinking that it's actually a very useful biofuel, and one that I already use. If I had to recommend something, I would say, maybe more outreach, to see if maybe through greater outreach you can get better cars that can use more ethanol gas, but it's not truly needed because most cars do already use ethanol gas. For the plan of action, I would say if you had no problems with funding, I'd say try and find better ways to break down more parts of the plant, more parts of corn, so that farmers can use more corn. Farmers can get more money out of each bushel of corn, because actually it's not really cost effective for the farmers to use other parts of the corn. They mostly just use that part of the corn, the kernels obviously, but if it could be more cost effective, that would be really great for the farmers, because they could make more money, and they're actually in a decrease right now, and most farmers are losing money on corn right now. So if we want to increase the rate of ethanol, that could help the farmers make more money, which means they would obviously have more ethanol. We would have more ethanol, more corn to create ethanol with, which would just be a net benefit for society, as we would reduce our carbon footprint. And then here's my works cited. A lot of sources there, and thank you for listening.